Trent, yeah. 39, final warning? I'm gonna go. This is a deadly endurance contest known as the long walk. Competitors must keep a steady pace of 5 kilometers per hour at all times. No one is allowed to stop moving for any reason before reaching the finish line, even to tend to their bodily needs. The rules are brutally harsh. Anyone who slows down or halts will be shot dead after receiving 3 official warnings. To lift the spirits of young people struggling at the bottom of society, the president launched this grueling walking competition, and only one person can win. The champion will be crowned an American national hero, awarded a grand prize of $100 million, and granted one wish of their choice. The massive reward gave disadvantaged young people a glimmer of hope, and 50 contestants signed up for the event. At first, everyone was relaxed and chatted casually as they walked. Everything changed when Pearson stopped to remove a pebble from his shoe. An alarm blared instantly, and soldiers aimed their guns straight at his head. Warning, number 5. Second warning. Get on, man, stop paying. Number 5. Third warning. Get the fuck shot, aren't you rich? After scrambling back into line, the crowd learned that every contestant wore a speed tracker. There was no way to cut corners, and another warning would mean immediate execution. 10 kilometers into the walk, a young man named Huck suffered a severe leg cramp. Ray, a fellow walker, rushed over to help him keep moving, but Huck could not go on any longer and slumped to the road. Once the 3 warnings ended, the soldiers fired without hesitation. The first casualty opened everyone's eyes to the deadly reality of this contest. The next dozen kilometers passed in total silence among the group. Fortunately, staff members provided supplies on demand, with soldiers handing out food and drinking water whenever the competitors needed them. 20 kilometers in, an Asian contestant named Win suddenly foamed at the mouth and convulsed violently before collapsing on the spot, unable to take another step. Kirsten callously stepped right over him and mocked the fallen man, calling him weak. The other contestants chose to look away. No one dared to stop, but they all knew the man had no chance of survival. 2 deaths in quick succession put everyone on high alert. The group stayed focused for hours on end, but the monotonous march eventually bored Pearson. He started picking on another walker, who initially ignored him. Pearson then made cruel jokes about the man's mother, pushing him past his breaking point. The enraged contestant threw a punch at Pearson, missed his target, and lost his balance. He fell hard, twisting his ankle badly. 30 seconds ticked by, and he still could not stand up. The crowd could only watch helplessly as the soldiers carried out the execution. Everyone blamed Pearson for provoking the fight and indirectly causing the man's death. Long-suppressed anger erupted, and people called him a killer. Though Pearson felt guilty deep down, he refused to admit he was wrong. He was reckless and loudmouthed by nature, always cracking thoughtless jokes. After this incident, no one wanted to talk to him anymore. Disaster struck again soon after. One contestant suffered from severe stomach trouble and relieved himself publicly. Healed for gone. Continued. He pulled his clothes back on and continued walking, while everyone behind him could barely stand the terrible stench. He received 2 more warnings after that, as he could not hold back his discomfort. When he stopped for a 3rd time, death came for him. Late on the first night, an exhausted Ray nearly fell asleep while walking. His companion Bart woke him up just in time. By midnight, the group had been walking for 18 straight hours, covering more than 90 kilometers. Everyone's energy was drained, and many could no longer maintain the required speed of 5 kilometers per hour. Alarms rang out non-stop. Some tripped and broke their ankles, while countless others were gunned down in a hail of bullets. The constant gunfire filled Ray with terror. He quickened his pace nervously and nearly slipped. Bart reached out and caught him. After sticking together through multiple scares, the two built a strong friendship. Ray splashed cold water over his head to jolt himself awake and keep pushing forward. When morning came, they had traveled 120 kilometers. They had survived the brutal first night, yet they had only completed 1/5 of the entire course. The original group of 50 had shrunk to 35. Ray and Bart kept encouraging each other, but the rest of the contestants had long lost their initial drive. Before long, Orr, the man who had twisted his ankle the night before, reached his absolute limit. Ray spoke words of comfort to him as they walked, but Orr could fight no more. He met his end amid desperate cries. Ray was furious at the cruel rules of the contest, yet he was powerless to change anything. A heavy silence fell over the group for the rest of the journey. When they reached the 200-kilometer mark, the major, who oversaw the event, appeared to give them a pep talk. His arrogant tone and empty words failed failed to inspire anyone, and the contestants grumbled among themselves. As they passed through a small town, one desperate runner tried to run away. He was shot dead on the spot. By the second night, only 20 people remained from the original 50. To save their strength, Ray and Bark leaned on each other and took turns resting as they walked. They had a grueling day together. On the third day, the group had covered over 300 kilometers with just 15 contestants still standing. Another black runner paused briefly to take care of his bodily needs, triggering a warning. He hurried back to his pace before a second warning was issued and escaped punishment. After 2.5 days side by side, Ray and Bark had become close friends. Ray finally confided his true reason for joining the walk. Ray's father had publicly spoken out against the government's regime in this deadly contest. In this oppressive nation, questioning the authorities or speaking against official policies was a serious crime. On top of that, his father had secretly gathered evidence of government officials' corruption, and he was shot dead in public. The man who ordered his father's execution was none other than the Major, the leader of the Long Walk. Ray had signed up for a competition to get close to the Major and avenge his father. Bark was shocked by the story and urged Ray to think of his mother, who lived alone. If Ray's revenge plan failed, he would surely lose his own life. The two argued fiercely. To Bark, taking care of family was the most important thing in the world, but consumed by hatred, Ray would not listen. Mid-argument, a contestant named Abraham completely broke down from exhaustion and mental stress. He stripped off his clothes and stumbled wildly along the road. He was shot dead right before he could run off the path. Late on the third night, their total distance surpassed 300 kilometers. England looked drowsy and could barely stay on his feet. Ray checked on him, and after muttering a few words to cheer himself up, England made a fateful choice. He stopped walking suddenly and charged at the accompanying soldiers, trying to grab their weapons. Drained by days of non-stop walking, he was overpowered and knocked to the ground. No. Second portion. 6. Another life was lost. When dawn arrived, only 6 contestants were left. Ray suggested they support one another and stick together to finish the race, so no more lives would be lost. Everyone agreed, except for Pearson. Watching the group unite, Pearson was overwhelmed by guilt and inferiority. He did not want to die carrying everyone's resentment. He went to Ray and explained that he had never meant to get the other runner killed. Ray said he understood, but the rest of the group refused to forgive Pearson, and a new fight broke out. Crushed by despair, Pearson walked to the front of the line and stopped abruptly, turning to face the others. As the alarm sounded, he admitted he would take responsibility for his mistakes, then ended his own life. By the 5th day, only the 5 toughest competitors remained, both mentally and physically. They had walked 500 kilometers, with just 100 kilometers left to the supposed finish line. Ray's shoes had worn completely through after days of marching, so he took them off and continued barefoot. While passing through another town, Ray spotted his mother standing by the roadside. She seemed to know what her son planned to do. She did not cheer for him, but simply watched on, looking haggard and heartbroken. Seeing his lonely mother threw Ray into an emotional spiral. He nearly stopped walking to embrace her. Bark pulled him back firmly before he could make that reckless move. To calm Ray down, Bark told him about his own past. He had been an orphan his entire life and never knew who his parents were. He told Ray to stay strong, for his mother was waiting for him to come home. He also shared his greatest wish. If he won the prize money, he would build an orphanage. It would give homeless children warm meals, comfortable homes, and a playground, letting them feel the love of a real family. Ray calmed down after hearing Bark's words. He realized his friend's selfless dream was far more meaningful than his own vengeful obsession. A dozen kilometers further on, a contestant named Long reached his breaking point. Learning from Lun's fate, he waited until the soldiers were distracted, then lunged for their guns. He managed to take down one soldier, but was shot by the others. Refusing to be killed by his enemies, he dried himself up in his final moments and ended his own life, dying with dignity. By late afternoon on the 5th day, they had covered 550 kilometers. 4 runners remained, and all of them were utterly exhausted. Marsh, one of the black contestants, could barely walk on his own. Ray and Bark supported him the whole way, but Marsh knew he would never make it through the final 50 kilometers. Now wanting to slow his friends down, he stopped walking and dropped out of the race. A few hours later, Butler, the tall runner, also hit his physical limit. He limped along, struggling to keep his balance. Before his end, he shared his secret with Ray and Bark. He was the Major's illegitimate son. He had joined the walk hoping to earn his father's recognition and be accepted into his family. But he soon learned the Major had dozens of illegitimate children. His father had never noticed him and likely did not even know he existed. Heartbroken, Butler chose to end his suffering. After watching so many friends die, Ray's heart grew calm. The burning desire for revenge that had driven him faded away. He finally understood that taking care of his mother, the only family he had left, was the true responsibility of a man. When they reached the 600-kilometer mark, they arrived at what everyone believed was the finish line. Crowds of onlookers cheered loudly from the roadside, yet the armored vehicle leading the way never slowed down. Ray and Bark exchanged a look, and it suddenly dawned on them there was no real finish line. The last person still standing would be the winner. Bark knew Ray had a mother to return to, so he decided to give his shot at victory to Ray. He prepared to stop walking, but Ray grabbed his arm and begged him to keep going beside him. But as Bark stepped forward, Ray came to a full stop. Bark rushed back, confused, and asked why he would do this. Ray told him that he would not have survived this far without Bark's help. What's more, Bark's dream deserved to come true. He chose to give up and let his friend win. Soldiers then led Bark away. Following the rules, the Major personally executed Ray, the last remaining contestant. Fuck you, Mr. Gurney! May God reward your bravery. I'm sorry. A gunshot rang out, and Ray fell to the ground. The Major then announced Bark as the official champion. As promised, the winner was granted one wish. Bark asked for an AK-47 rifle as a souvenir. The Major saw no harm on the request and agreed immediately. Put it right here! Put the gun down. The whole world is waiting for you. There's more riches than you absolutely imagine. But the second Bark held the rifle. He raised it and fired at the Major. The gunshot echoed across the land, bringing the entire